Well, it is an important part of interior design that many do-it-yourselfers often overlook, lighting. So today we are breaking down everything you need to know thanks to the help of interior decorator Shoshana Goslin. She joins me now to tell us about some of the biggest mistakes people make and how to avoid them. Shoshana, good morning.
Good morning.
Great to see you. So talk to us a little bit about the topic of lighting. Do you find that it really can make a world of a difference in a space?
A good chandelier is like a jewel in a room. It can really make a bold statement.
Yeah, you talk about the focal point a lot with us. Talk about an awesome focal point, right?
That's right, that's right.
Okay, so let's start with how we can find the right size light. Because I know a lot of my friends who move into, new construction, they're like, oh, we don't like the chandelier that our house came with. It's either too big, too small, we don't know what to do. How do you find the right size?
Well, I'll tell you something, there's a lot of options out there. And today's segment hopefully will help people figure out how to narrow down those options. And the biggest one is through size.
Okay.
So here is how to figure out the size of your chandelier.
Okay.
Take your measuring tape and measure the width of your table.
Okay.
Okay, and then you minus 12 from that amount. So for example, this table is 30 inches, I minus 12, and I get 18. That means I'm looking for a size 18 light. Now the reason why you minus 12 from the table is because you don't want a light that's going to be the same size as your table. Because what will happen is your guests, as soon as they get up from the table, they're going to hit their noggin right on the light.
You don't want that.
You don't want anyone blacking out during a meal.
Okay, so some easy subtraction. Minus 12 will help you out. Do the same little equation and subtraction if it's a round table?
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. It's always going to be the same. You want to make sure you don't get a light that's too small because then it won't function well and it'll get lost in the space.
Okay, perfect. And then how do we hang the light correctly? I know a lot of people struggle with this because they're the little notches on the chain and people don't know, should I do it lower? Should I do it higher? What's the rule?
So here is the golden rule.
Okay, let's hear it.
The light should hang about 30 to 36 inches above a tabletop.
Okay.
Now this is taking into consideration that you have about a 30-inch high table and that you have a 8-foot ceiling.
Okay.
If you have a higher ceiling, just add 3 inches onto every foot.
Okay. Okay.
Now, this is important, and the reason they came up with this number is because let's say you and I are sitting across from each other at the table, and this is our light.
Is that our Shoshana chandelier? I love it.
This is our new chandelier.
Love it.
So if I were to hang the light wherever I wanted, let's say at about 18 inches, we couldn't see each other.
No.
If I were to hang it at 24 inches, we still can't see each other.
Right.
It's when I get to the number 30 to 36 that we'll be able to say, can you please pass the peas, Eve?
Right. Okay, perfect. Okay, so that's the rule of thumb for the height. Then what about the design? I mean, as you mentioned, there's so many different kinds of chandelier on the market. Do we have a picture we wanted to show of the height, though, before we go on?
Actually, yes. You have a picture. I wanted to go back to the height of the chandelier.
Yeah. Sorry.
Because a lot of lights these days aren't hung by chains. They now can be hung by stems.
Yeah, awesome.
See this light? Oh, it's so gorgeous. And it's hung by these rods. Now, the rods are a certain height that come with the light. Unlike a chain, you cannot add a link, take away a link. So you really need to make sure you know the exact height of the light and measure it out to make sure it's at least 30 to 36 inches hanging above your table, no less than that. Okay, so with something like that, Shoshana, do you have to order a certain size rod, or does it just come standard? It comes standard. It comes standard, and they usually take into account that you are going to use it in like an 8-foot or 9-foot ceiling. So it's very important if you look at a light like this, online or in person, make sure you know the specific height from the top of the light to the bottom. Okay, beautiful. That looks like something from a magazine. I love that chandelier. And speaking of, this leads us into our next topic, the design. That's of course a different type of our traditional, basic chandelier that we're used to seeing. Right. Well, how do you pick a good design? There's so many styles out there. So let's narrow that down. The first thing I would say is go into the room. And you can always narrow down by the type of style. For example, traditional, contemporary, rustic. Another way to narrow it down is by the finish. Look around you. Are there, finishes on the hardware, on other lamps in the room? Complement those finishes. Another way is by function. If it's going to go over a kitchen table, you may want downlights, or you may want exposed bulbs that don't have any shades on them. And another way, which is always a good way, is to look to the furniture for advice. And you have a picture, actually, of a dining room table.
Oh, pretty. Look
Yeah,
at that.
so
That's
this
cool.
furniture is gorgeous, but it's very heavy. So if I were to put a heavy light above it, it would just smash the whole look of it. So we want to balance it out by using a chandelier that's the same size that balance out the table, yet it's made of glass and has a nice shine to it. It's very airy, so it works.
Gorgeous. So you just kind of have to look around, take a little inventory, think about your style and the other elements in the room, and that proves that it can be a beautiful accent to the room, so love it. Coming up in just a few minutes, we'll talk about lamps. Shoshana will tell us how we can use different lamps in our rooms and give us some advice on which ones to pick when she comes right back. Stay with us. Lighting things up literally with interior designer Shoshana Gosselin. Today she joins me in the studio once again to show us how to make the most of lamps in your room. Shosh, good morning once again.
Good morning.
So let's talk about lamps. You know, they've come a long way. There's some really cool things on the market.
You can find so many options everywhere, online, in person, whatever store you're going into.
And you don't have to spend a ton of money, right?
Absolutely not.
Okay, so let's run through some of your favorites today and tell us a little bit about why you like them. This one has an awesome base in front of you. I love this.
You know, there's 3 types of light sources that I think are so important. The main light source, the accent light source, and task lighting. So I'm going to talk about them in order by using these lights as examples. And I do love these lights.
Yeah, they're so cool.
First is main light. When I talk about main light, in a room, you want to look up to the ceiling and look for a light fixture. If there is none, then you want to use a lamp as your main light. So you want to make sure that it can filter out light and give you a bright area. That's what this light does. Because of the high base, it allows more light to come through on the bottom. Because of the round, large, and white shade, it allows more light to penetrate through. So this is a great idea for lighting up a room as a main light. If you're not looking for main light, you want some accent lighting, you want to use something like this. Accent lights are great in a foyer. They're great in a dining room to complement your beautiful chandelier. And they're also really good in like a living room when you have company over at night. You don't want to turn on a bright light. You want a nice soft light to make your skin look good.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I need that every day.
So this light is short, has a short base, so little light's going to come through. And it has a dark shade. So again, it's going to hold in more of its light.
Okay, pretty. I like that. And another cool base here. I like that.
It
Something
is.
different.
It's fun. You know, when the light comes on, it'll shine up this beautiful piece of art in the bottom.
Okay, what do we have next?
Okay, now if you are looking for task lighting, you need good lighting, of course, to do yucky bills or reading. You want something like this kind of light that has, again, a long neck, so light will come through, and it allows you to move it around to wherever you need the direct light.
Oh, that's neat. That's a lot more stylish than the little ones we used to clip to our beds in college, you know, with the little clips.
And they would always fall down. Oh, man, I
wake you up in the middle of the night. Yeah, that's really cool. Okay.
Good alarm clock.
Yeah, exactly. And we have one more, and I love this one. This is a really neat one.
Oh, this is what they call a floor lamp. No, I'm just kidding. You know, floor lamps have been around. They're really useful because if you don't have a tabletop, you could still get great light in because they just plug in anywhere. And this kind of lamp is called an arc lamp, and it's very popular because it actually kind of is a piece of artwork that kind of moves over into a little circular pattern, and it can get direct light onto wherever you want it to go. You know, these come in any size. You can get them really large enough to, you know, basically high-five you over at the other end of the sofa. So they're really big and they're really popular.
Yeah, something different. I like it. Any rules of thumb on overdoing it? You know, do you have any clients that you go into their homes and say, whoa, holy lamps, you know, like they went a little too crazy?
It looks like a lamp store?
A little bit.
Yeah, well, I would say stick with a main light, 2 main lights maybe, an accent light, and a task light. Don't overdo it with too many large lamps. Have them be at different heights. Don't use too many. Try, if you don't have a main light source above, try to get maybe just 2 that work really well versus 5 all around you. And
do you like, as a designer, do you like to stick with the same, you know, kinds of finishes, or do you like to change it up a little bit?
Oh, change it up.
Okay, have
you
some
don't
fun.
want it to look like
too
you bought
matchy,
everything, at the same place. You want to look like you have a story to tell. Over time, you collect it. Like these, I think, really are pretty. You've got the modern one, the eclectic one, and the very chic, you know, high-end jewelry looking one.
Super. And you have more great pointers on your blog, loveyourroom.com. And for folks who have never visited your blog, tell us a little bit about what else we can find on the blog.
Well, today's segment will definitely be on the blog with the information about the chandeliers. You can also find lots of advice that I have on anything that I come across, new cool things coming out, and basically the projects that I'm working on.
Yeah, fun. We get a little inside look into the world of Shoshana, which is always exciting. So thanks. All of our rooms are going to have fabulous lighting. Our skin will look great by tonight when we rearrange the lighting, right? Thank you so much. And stay with us. We are coming right back.
Turn up the lights in here, baby. Extra bright, I want y'all to see.